That's awesome, man. Hey, what's happening? Are we live, Grey?
We are
Man, you
live.
always get me, man. How's
We
everyone
always.
doing? Wait a minute, wait a minute. This is your channel this week, Grey. You take it away.
Oh, I thought I was just gonna drink water and hang out, man. Shoot.
Hey, hey, I read one of the comments from I think it was 2 weeks ago or something. Someone said, "Grey, take a drink of water because that's the only time you're gonna open your mouth."
Hey, you gotta love it, man. You gotta love it.
Oh man, that had me laughing, man. Oh, how's everyone doing? Welcome to the apocalypse, ladies and gentlemen. GreyMan is gonna tell you what the apocalypse means. That way you won't be like, "Oh, you fear mongers."
That's
And Merry
that's a good.
Christmas, Grey. Grey, Merry Christmas, man.
Well, Merry Christmas to you too.
Yeah, it's officially the Christmas season. There's Christmas music in the radio and everything now, and I got to get my Christmas tree out. So we're gonna have a Christmas lighting ceremony here pretty soon on my channel, on the Alaska Prepper channel. So that's gonna be
Oh,
awesome.
I'm just gonna copy you and do the same thing, just so you
Yeah,
know.
do it, man. We have to have a Christmas lighting ceremony, man. You know?
All right, folks. So, welcome to the apocalypse. Now, let's give you an idea because when you hear the word apocalypse, you think the world is ending, the fear mongering are on TV, they're on YouTube, they won't leave us alone, we're scared, we're freaking out. No. So, let's go with the true meaning of what apocalypse means. The original Greek meaning of apocalypse is to uncover, to reveal. The Greek root for apocalypse is a verb meaning to uncover, reveal, lay bare, or disclose. And that's what we're doing here on the channel, folks. We are revealing, we are disclosing information to get you ready for the apocalypse.
Awesome. Hey, can I make an announcement, Grey?
Sure.
I just wanted to tell my moderators. I see my moderators are here also. All right. So I wanted to tell you all that I just emailed my contact at Opus your information so that they can ship you out your Opus 1800. And Copernicus, I still have to send you an email. I will be taking care of you here in about the next week or so. I just wanted to go ahead and put that out because I didn't put out a video this morning, so I wanted to put that out here.
You know, being that we're doing some house cleaning, I on the Christmas giveaway, I guess the mods are really busy, but I told all my mods, which are mostly your mods too. I was like, hey, you guys email me your information. I think I have some of them. Like Yarn, I can get a hold of on Instagram. I think JT, I can get a hold of South Florida, a couple of them. But I was like, if you guys want some Christmas gifts this year, you guys need to email me to make sure I have all your information, your correct information. So I can get these things out for Christmas.
If the three ladies that are here now, if they want, I can just forward you their information. I have it. You know, you're talking about their shipping address, right?
Yeah.
If they give me permission, I can forward it right to you after this live stream, and then you can have it so you can ship them whatever you want to ship them.
Sounds good.
Well, that's up to the ladies.
People are probably people are probably thinking, are they ever going to get on with the show, or are they just going to be shooting?
This is the show, Grey. You are the show, buddy. You are the show. Okay,
I'm following. I'm at the top of my game.
You made it, man.
Oh man, Rainy Steps, thank you for the super chat. It's always a pleasure to see you guys supporting the channel as best as you guys can. Oh, we got 85 thumbs up. How many people we got tonight? 171 because it's not a giveaway. All right, folks. Big show. Thank you. Minuteman Squirrel. Got you, brother. But thank you all for joining us tonight. We're going to get a bunch of different topics. We probably won't get to them all because we just don't. But it's always fun to go over some of these topics. And, before we get into jumping into anything too crazy, I was watching another channel and they were talking about the drought. And I was like, I'm interested in the drought, right? I was thinking, what about the drought? They're saying that the drought's really bad. So I decided to do some research, literally 15 minutes ago of research. And so this is kind of what I came up with. Let me bring this up here. I'm going to throw it up, Rudy. We need to get a third person. I'm going to see if I need to get my wife to say, hey, you need to be the person that pulls up the windows for us.
Man, that's getting really fancy.
I know, right? So this is the projected drought over the next few months, right? And it kind of gives you where the drought is persistent, where the brown is over here, up in this area. And then it tells you where drought removal is likely, where the drought's going to settle down, and then drought development. So I was kind of looking at this map here in Florida where I'm at. Looks good. And I know with the system, from what I hear, we're going to have a really wet winter, cool, wet winter. We'll probably get most of our cold weather in February. But I noticed California wasn't on this thing here, right? Because a lot of food comes out of California. And I was watching Matt over at Magic. He showed up this app, this thing that you can use. I'd like to do a video about it, but I'm going to ask Matt, if it's okay if I share out his information, because it's this thing that you can click on the computer, which is very taxing, because I tried to run on my gaming computer and it was still hard to get everything running. So you got to have a really good PC to run it. But it shows you like roadways and how your food comes and what your state and your counties depend on for other counties and stuff. It was really intricate. But I was looking at this whole situation in California here, because we do get a lot of nuts and fruits and stuff like that from those areas. But outside of that, it didn't look too bad. So I'm thinking, what are they talking about? So then I looked over here. I'll bring up the other one. Where is she at? I had her popped up here. Will that pop up? No, it won't show up the same one. Let me switch it to this other screen here. Move that one.
Goodness, Grey. YouTube is doing it again. They're already putting up ads like 8 minutes into the live stream.
Really?
They should be ashamed. You know what? From now on, because on my live stream, I know I'm cutting you off, man, but you'll get back to it. I know you. But on my last live stream, I was trying to opt out of the ads, but every 30 minutes, and I couldn't even do that. So I just turned them off. I'm like, the heck with it. I don't care if they don't share the live stream. I just turned them off, because they would not let me decide if I wanted to put an ad like every 30 minutes. They wouldn't let me decide that.
It took me 10 times. 10 times to set it to 30 minutes. And then
I couldn't do it at all. So I just turned them off altogether. And for those of you that don't understand, I've said it before, but I'll say it again for those of you that maybe haven't heard this before. The reason why it's important to have a video or a live stream monetized is because if it's monetized, YouTube will share it more so than if it's not, right? But like it's happening right now, there's an ad coming in 5 or 6 minutes after the start. I don't like that, so I'm just going to go ahead and not even have them on during the live stream and go with it. It is what it is,
Yeah, Dale says I got the ads and it freezes chat. I mean, we can do that.
I'm just not gonna monetize my live streams anymore. If people show up, they show up, and that's that.
Roger
so
that.
Anyways, you know what, Grey? You were talking about those floods. I mean, not floods, but droughts, the opposite. And I've often said this throughout the years. It's just a cycle. It's a cycle. I'm thinking about doing a video on this subject matter, and of course, it's climate change. But there's an article over at Epoch Times that I looked at today that has like the last 60 or 70 years of all of the warnings that we've been given by governments or scientists and stuff about how the earth is going to end in 10 years.
Right.
And the earth should have ended like 5 or 6 or 7 times already. And they keep telling us that the earth is going to end because of climate change. But we've been given like 35 or 40 warnings over like the last 60, 70 years that the earth is going to end if we don't stop doing this or that. But yeah, it's just a cycle. And the thing is that, in my opinion, since the average person doesn't really study history and the cycles of weather and things like that normally, then what the government does is they use the knowledge that people are ignorant of to forward their agenda. So the government's like, hey, the average person doesn't know anything about this. They don't know that weather patterns are just cycles. Let's go ahead and use this weather pattern that we're going through right now. Like, let's say, for example, a solar maximum, right? Let's just use this weather pattern that we're going through right now. Just getting out of a grand solar minimum, right? And if you're getting out of a grand solar minimum, it means that you're starting to warm up for the next 150, 200 years or so before you enter into another grand solar minimum where you cool down. So the government's like, hey, let's just use this information that the average public doesn't know about, and let's use it against them so that we can forward our agenda, so that we can say, hey, the earth is burning up even though it's not, so that we can say as the government, hey, you breathing out CO2 is destroying the planet, even though CO2 only makes up 0.04% of the gases in the atmosphere. It's why they've had to switch over to nitrogen now. Now they're saying, oh, nitrogen is not good, even though nitrogen makes up 76% of the gases in the atmosphere. It's so bad for us that it makes up most of the gases in the atmosphere. So they use these things for their advantage in order to progress the agenda they want to progress. Because the average person, and I can't blame the average person, because the average person is working 2 jobs, sometimes 3, just to keep their heads above water.
Agreed.
So the government uses this information against the average person, knowing that the average Joe out there is just trying to survive. And they're not going to come home from work after 16 hours and say, hey, let me research this climate change stuff. No, they're going to try to get some sleep, get something to eat, maybe see if they can get to know their kids for an hour a day before they go back to sleep and then have to do it all over again the next day.
Well, after I run this slide, being that you talked about that, I got something for you. But, and funny enough, this is California's AG website, I think, if I recall correctly. Yeah, California AG Today.
Okay.
And it's right here. It says, I think the routes in 2023 are going to go back to 2020, where we entered this particular solar cycle in 2020. It happens to be a very unique solar cycle. It's a 22-year pattern. And once we get into the year 2020, we immediately went into La Nina, right? And then in 2022-year cycle, solar cycle, and the La Nina don't get along well. So then anyways, it says, well, we end up with a lot of dryness. And in 2020, we developed this Northern American drought that extended from Mexico to clear up into Canada. And we've been dealing with it ever since. Well, here they're predicting that from what they're saying, it says that means we're going to go through a big part of winter without much relief in these drier based areas or drier biased areas. And when we get into the spring, we're still going to be dealing with some kind of flow pattern for a while longer. And so we're going to end up finding well, if I can't speak today. And so we'll end up still fighting moisture deficits in the spring. I think we'll have a few week periods in the spring where we can get some better precipitation to occur before we go into the summer pattern. So what I gather for what they're saying, and this is my perspective, is that California will be on the drought table here by the continue its cycle that has been in for the last few years. That's what I'm gathering from that. Now, you can add on that while I pull up this next slide, if you like.
Yeah, it's like I've said, and I'm going to continue to say this because I wholeheartedly believe this, and I believe that there's proof out there that you can actually look up. Ladies and gentlemen, nature is a formula. A formula has a beginning and an end, and a formula is, like circular, I guess you can say, right? It always comes back to the beginning. Nature is like, look up the Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence is nature, is the cycle of nature. It's the formula of nature. I mean, they've even studied this so far as to take a look from high up in the sky and look down at the Amazon and look down at all the trees and see that even all of the trees have kind of like a formula. They have kind of like a cycle, so that they're not just there by happenstance. Everything happens for a reason, right? Nature has a plan for everything. And what we're going through as far as drought, it's a cycle. It will be over. And if it's supposed to come back, it's going to come back. And that is why we prepare. Because if something happens that we can't control, and I don't believe that we can control nature, even though some crazy people that think they're God, they think they can control nature. They may think they can, but in the end, nature always wins. And that's why we prepare. It's very simple. Don't allow these pundits in the mainstream media and or the government that have their own agenda, right, ladies and gentlemen? Don't allow them to fool you into thinking that they know better than nature, because they don't. And the best thing I can tell you that I know about nature, not knowing it, as well as anyone should, is that you're not going to win. Eventually, nature will win. You can manipulate something until you can no longer manipulate it, right? So, and all we can do really is be prepared. Be prepared and stay informed. Actionable intel. Like I use that word all the time because it means a lot. Actionable intel. If you know that something has a good probability of occurring, in the near future or even in the far future ahead, make sure that you prepare for that. That's what we can do, to stay ahead of the game.
Well, being that you're talking about that, I mean, look what they're getting ready to do, or they're working on doing this. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of small on my screen.
Oh
But
yeah, I've seen that. I was going to talk about that tomorrow. Yeah.
yeah. Well, you get a chance to at least touch on it this
What a
evening. It's
shame.
called carbon passports, folks. Everybody's going to be getting their
Man,
carbon passports, man.
I
I
wonder if
think it's
there's anyone
interesting.
here. I wonder if there's anyone here from my channel that has heard me say this several times. Look at that, where it says experts suggest your standard of living be reduced by 85%. I've said that was
85,
their
man.
goal years ago. Years ago, I was saying their goal is to bring the standard of living of the Western nations about
Mm-hmm.
75% lower than what it is now. And here they're saying 85%. That is the goal.
85%.
Yes, here they're saying 85. That has been their goal all these years, is to bring down our standard of living. All right, about 75, and now they're saying 85% from what we're used to, ladies and gentlemen. Why is that? Because as our standard of living goes down, the standard of living of the developing nations goes up, and we have what? It's called equity, and we have
Mm-hmm.
equity throughout the world, ladies and gentlemen. The only problem is that your equity is going to be a lot less by the time that it matches that of the rest of the world. So, in other words, what they are doing right now, as we lose our middle class, is they are transferring the wealth of not just the middle class, but they are transferring the wealth of the Western nations over to those nations that are underdeveloped. That's what's happening. It's a huge wealth transfer, ladies and gentlemen, and it's you that's going to pay for it. Think about this. Have you ever asked yourself why it is that a medicine, let's say a prescription medication, fill in whatever name you want. Have you ever asked yourself why it is that a company that makes the exact same prescription medication, medication A, costs 100 times more in the US than it does in Mexico? In Mexico, it costs $2. In the US, it costs $200. In Vietnam, it costs 50 cents. In the US, it costs $200. Why? Because we, by paying these elevated prices here, are subsidizing the cost of those same medicines for those countries that pay a lot less than we do. That is, in other words, a transfer of your wealth going to other nations. And this is the exact same thing that they're doing with climate change. Because you don't hear Miss Thunberg, if that's how you pronounce her name, you don't hear her bitching about China and their 2 coal plants that they open every day. You don't hear her bitching about India, which are the biggest polluters of plastic, or one of the biggest polluters of plastic in the world. You don't hear her bitching about any of those places. Why? Because those are the places that, while their standard of living is going up, ours is supposed to be going down, i.e., transfer of wealth. That's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. It always comes down to, and something that I always get in trouble for, people saying, because I say that money is everything. It always comes down to money. Why? Because money represents your time, it represents your labor, therefore, it represents your freedom. And when they take away your standard of living and lower it, what they're doing is they're stealing your labor, your time, your freedom. Why? Because now you're having to work 5 times as much to get the exact same thing that you did 5 years ago today. Man, I'll tell you, we live in interesting times.
Crazy stuff, my friend. All right, let me bring that back down.
That's right,
But
too.
yeah, I saw that, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And I see a lot of people talking about, that us as we the people, we need to stand up for our rights and stuff like that. And I agree 100%. Have you seen what the Pentagon just pushed out the other day? And you see that?
Well, can I expand on that a little bit on standing up for our rights?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Of course.
Well, the thing is that human nature will not allow us to do it as a collective. Okay. And so many people have said this in the past. We need to stand up and we need to do this and this. Human nature will not allow us to stand up and have a revolution, because that's what people mean when they say we need to stand up and we need to fight, right? Human nature will not allow it to happen. It's just human nature. And the best example that I can use of this, Grey, is 1776.
Mhm.
Everyone thinks of 1776 as the day that the colonists said, we've had enough. We can't take it anymore. But what we hear in today, what we are experiencing, is what the colonists experienced for years prior to 1776. You see, it took many, many years for the colonists to finally go through enough pain, right, and discomfort for them to finally say in 1776, after a few of the colonists got shot by, you know, the redcoats, by the soldiers from England, for them to say we can't live like this. So we're either going to fight and die, or we're going to live, you know, like slaves. So they decided to stand up. So right now, what we're going through, in my opinion, what we're going through is that part of 1776, like 10, 15, 20 years prior. We are being pushed and pushed and pushed, but we will not push back until we have no other choice. And unfortunately, that's just the way that human nature is. We're like little rats. We will not fight back as a collective. We will not fight back until we are pushed into a corner and we have no choice because we see no other way out. Eventually,
Hey, no, you're fine, my friend. I'm looking through the things.
hey, exactly right, Morning Light, 100%.
It's I guess I'm there's nothing I can do. I guess we'll have to build our own audience from our channels, because you know I keep on seeing that the commercials are becoming issues. Someone said buffering. Let me move this ad so I can see what they're talking about.
I mean, everything looks good over here.
Everything looks good over here too. We must be talking the truth now. So,
oh, maybe that's it. Yeah, I'm sorry if that's it.
Yeah, because no, it looks good over here. I'm double checking. The big
Yeah,
guy, the
everything
big guy
looks
doesn't
really
like
good
what
on
you're
this
saying.
side. Yeah, everything
Everybody
looks
says we're
really good on
back.
this
All right,
side.
5x5.
We're
All
back?
right, so yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
All right, so let me bring this next slide up. And I guess what I was saying is that I guess I'm gonna have to turn off the commercials as well, because people keep on saying things about the commercials and I'm overhearing about it. So I'm just gonna turn it off. So folks, if you don't get notifications, okay, because we're not going to be pushed. YouTube's going to slap us down because we took our monetization off. So just remember, every Monday night, either on my channel or Rudy's channel, we'll be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Monday.
We'll try to post it. Yeah, we'll try to post it on a community page too.
Yeah, I'm going to take them off next time. To hell with it. I mean, it's pennies on the dollar, so it's not even worth it. You know what I mean? I used to joke around my wife. I said, if I get a super chat for $1, it's more than worth the ad revenue that I get off a live stream.
Yep, it's true. It's
all
true.
Right. But I saw this. I wanted to share it with all of us. But yeah, it says the Pentagon's moving forward to letting AI weapons autonomously make decisions on the battlefield. Basically, hey, we're going to make this work and let it, decision to kill people. Machines making decisions to kill people. This was just updated November 24th. Crazy, man. Lethal weapons can automatically detect their target and make autonomous decisions to attack them. This is a report by the New York Times that further talked about AI-controlled drones that could work on an automatic basis. One thing I did notice in this thing is that notably the U.S. is the foremost in the race to develop what the report called killer robots. Now, don't ever think this is just for war, folks. If the things ever get bad, you don't think they'll turn this on we the people?
Absolutely, man. You know what? I mean, I don't know. I don't even know where to start on this. I've talked about this before. I've talked about what happens if we get a CBDC. So check this out, Grey. If we get a CBDC, a centrally banked digital currency, what's going to happen is you're going to walk into the supermarket, right? And there's not going to be any cashiers. There's not going to be anyone in the supermarket. You're going to grab a cart. You're going to go pick your 20 items or whatever it is. And as you put those items in the cart, as you're putting them in, the amount of that item is automatically being deducted from your digital wallet. So if your digital wallet has $100 in it and you put in a box of cereal that's $2, as soon as that box of cereal hits the cart, your digital wallet goes down by $2 to $98. If you take it out and put it back, it'll add it, right? And then you're going to take that and you're going to walk out the door. But as you're walking out the door, guess what's going to be at the doorway? There's going to be an AI robot to make sure that you're not stealing anything. To make sure that if you're walking out the door and your CBDC digital wallet was overdrafted and you shouldn't be walking out with that food, that you don't walk out with it. So that's the kind of future that I can see with these AI robots. Another thing with these AI robots, I can see them on the streets, patrolling the streets. Oh, you jaywalked? Well, you're going to get a citation right here and right then, and you better not mess around with an AI robot, because it can probably kill you easily. And they're going to be able to use these, and it's going to be for our own good, of course. These AI robots, when they first start to come out, it's going to be for your own good, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to be to better humanity. All right.
Thank you, Mark.
Just like a nuclear fusion or nuclear fission was. So there's going to be better humanity. There's going to be great for humanity. I mean, it wasn't that good for some of the Japanese and Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? But it's going to be to better humanity. Oh, it's not really that good now, in a time where, we're looking at that a misstep by one of the world, i.e. world leaders or statesmen, makes a wrong move, and then we can have a real worldwide apocalypse, right? That'll be the real reveal, right? It's not so good now. So, I mean, it's a heck of a shame that we as humanity, we take things that can be used for good and we turn it into something that can be used for evil. I mean, a Tomahawk missile, Gray, has 500 ounces of silver. One Tomahawk missile. Probably use that for something else than to blow people up, right? So, yeah, man. So it's like I said, man, this is all part of the human experience. This is all part of this cycle of the human experience called the fourth turning. And we're going to continue to go through crisis, crisis, crisis. Unfortunately, the thing is about one of the cycles that we are now getting towards the end of is that major war cycle. We have a major war cycle that's going to take us all the way through about the middle of 2030. And which means that between now and the middle of 2030 is very likely that we start a major war, a world war, where not millions of people will perish, but more than likely billions. And I mean, there's nothing that we can do about it. Be good with your creator. Pray. Ask for forgiveness, and what happens, happens. But I do know this: be prepared, because it's not up to you whether you're here or you're not. It's not up to you whether you stay here in this physical earth or whether you go. It's not up to you. So if it's not up to you, be as prepared as you can be. That way you can be used for good, right? To take care of your family, take care of your community, your friends.
100%. 100% there. Right. I agree.
So,
and you got to understand, folks. Do you think our government and NATO want peace? Here, let me show you something. Now, like I said, a lot of things are open to speculation. These are things that are just topics that we come across and things that are in the news media. But it says the U.S.-UK sabotage potential peace deal between Ukraine and Russia, says former UN Assistant Secretary General. The peace deal that could have seen Ukraine war end soon after it began was abandoned owing its Western interference, according to a new report. Mr. Scholberg said there is little doubt that peace negotiations failed owing to resistance from NATO, the United States, and the UK. It could have ended 5 weeks after it started. But we didn't want it. We did not want that, folks. Well, not us, but, our governments, the big wigs.
And I talked about this a while back. I said that what Russia did when they went into Ukraine in the manner that they did, it was a huge gift to the central banks. Because, Gray, there's two things. Well, there's really one thing that allows a central bank to print as much money as they want. There's one thing. That's war. As long as the people are on the side of war, a central bank will print as much money as they want or think that they need, because they need money in order to get the resources that they need to fight the war. And remember that for like the last year or so, almost 2 years or so now, the M2 money supply has been going down, which means that money has been getting destroyed. So money has been getting pulled out of the system. And when you have a debt-based system, the worst thing that can happen is for money to be pulled out of the system. Okay, so at this, and this is really a weird time that we're living in, because at the same time that we're having money destroyed, we still have inflation going up, that or the price of things going up. So that just tells you right there how much inflation there really has been, that has not been discovered or that has not hit the market. That at a time where we're pulling money out of the system, prices are still going up. But nonetheless, as we're pulling money out of the system, that is a very bad thing for a system that's debt based like our system is. So what better thing than to start a war, or than to have a war where you have no problem with printing trillions of dollars, right? And the war before Ukraine, what war did we have before Ukraine? Or we had the war on the health crisis, right? War powers, they were giving themselves war powers during our health crisis, and they ended up printing, the United States, in a matter of 2 years, ended up printing about 30 to 40% of all of the money that ever existed in our nation since the beginning of our nation. Think about that. They ended up printing, I'll say it again, all of the money that's ever existed to that point, they ended up printing about 30 to 40% of it. That's incredible. So there's no better thing than war, to continue to print money and to continue to bring debt to life, which is what will keep this monetary system alive and what will keep the government alive. Because without a fiat monetary system, this government loses its power. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our power comes from God's money. Once we make the government adhere to how much money it can spend, where they have a limit because they're using gold and silver to back up the dollar, then we will have the power once again. But until then, they will have the power over us.
Um, wh- I'm gonna try something real quick. Can I turn off ads during a live stream?
Yeah, go to your
My studio?
go to your studio, and then oh man, I forget the darn name. You know
I'm
where
gonna
to
go to
go
this.
to.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm looking right now. I'm gonna go to my content, my live, uh, monetization. Let me turn monetization off. Save. And
There you
folks,
go.
I
That
hope
should
that
work.
works.
Yeah.
That should work. I hope that works. And like I said, and Mark, thank you for the super chat. Again, that I appreciate that. That'll cover the monetization revenue for
Man,
the night.
silver is doing pretty good, huh? Rich Mountains says today's silver closed at 24.76.
Gold was up too, over 2 grand.
Yeah, so I did a video a while back where I think it might have been during a live stream where I said that once gold breaks out over 2100, and this is on record, ladies and gentlemen. It's on a video out there somewhere. Once gold breaks over 2100 and it finds that new floor at 21, meaning that it'll bounce off of it a few times, I believe it's going to hit 2900. That's the low. That's going to be the low that gold will hit. It's about 2900. Once it bounces off 2100 a few times, it's going to hit 2900, and then after that, there's no telling where it can go. I think that in the next 5 to 10 years, right? And people may say, "Oh, that's a long 5-10 years is not a long time." Right? I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we will see gold at a minimum of 5,000, but I think more like $10,000 to $15,000 an ounce. I really believe that, and the reason is because remember when I said that sound money is what gives us the people the power over government, and fiat currency gives government power over the people. The fiat currency system cannot last forever because fiat currency by nature is a Ponzi scheme. So a debt-based monetary system by nature is a Ponzi scheme. So it can't last forever. And no fiat currency has ever lasted forever. Every single one of them has gone to zero. But by the time that a fiat currency goes to zero, it would have raped the people. Literally, it would have raped the people of so much of their wealth that the people will have such a bad taste in their mouth once that currency goes to zero, that they will insist as a collective, after they've suffered, they will insist that the next monetary system is sound money based or commodity based, which commodities are money by nature as well. So the next system that we enter into, I believe it'll be within the next maybe at 15 years at the most, maybe They can't milk this cow too much longer. I mean, right now they just got powdered milk coming out of it now. I mean, it's true. They can't milk it that much longer. They really can. I believe in our lifetime, we will see a brand new monetary system in the United States of America, and we will see the United States of America have a much lower standard of living. Right? I think we will be a second, if we're lucky, we'll be a second world nation. Right? Maybe a third world nation. And I'm not saying this because I want to see that, but mathematics doesn't lie, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, I will see that people that were able to bring gold and silver to the new paradigm will be much better off, not only than they are now, but much better off than anyone else in the future that did not bring any of their wealth forward with them because they kept the paper instead of turning it into real money. So, and it doesn't take a lot, get a little bit at a time, get one dime every payday. People are always saying, I don't have enough money to buy silver or gold. You don't have $3 to go get a dime every time you get paid? I'm sure that you do, and you can do something to get yourself an extra $10 a month where you can go buy 2 or 3 dimes. You keep doing that every month, after a year, you have 30 dimes. It's 30 dimes more than you had when you started this year. Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah, it was a slow and steady wins the race. Exactly what I was going to say. I left this question up here from Dana. And she says, they say that history repeats itself. Might our nation ever get a good sense of financial, home, food, health, security, and what we have had in the past? Personally, I don't think so, at least anytime soon. Not the way the current politics and the way the world is at this moment. I don't think that's possible.
Unfortunately, Gray, I don't see any way. People always rely on. Unfortunately, people rely on politics to save them, right? I don't. It doesn't matter, man. I mean, we're on your channel. Who cares if it gets demonetized? I'm just kidding, man.
I mean, I took the monetization off anyways. Worst they
I
can do
know. I
is
just wanted to see what you say. Like what? No. Like I mean, you know what? Like Trump. Everyone wants Trump to get elected, and that's fine. Look, I believe that right now the train is headed towards the wall, and it is headed at 180 miles per hour. All right, that train being our system. Right? We need a conductor on that train that will slow it down. All right, we need a conductor that will slow the train down. The train is still going to hit the wall, but we need someone in there that will slow it down, someone that loves the train, right? Someone that actually loves his country and countrymen, that will slow it down and knows that, hey, we are going to have a collapse. But if we slow it down, we can get prepared better. And once that collapse happens, since that conductor loves his country, maybe he'll already have things in place to help his country recover. Okay, but it's not politics that's going to save our nation. It's we, the people, that will save our nation. And what I mean by that is that after everything crashes, that we will recognize what we did wrong and not allow it to happen again, at least for the next 5 to 10 generations or so. Right, so that our children can live free, like Thomas Jefferson said. So that's what I think is going to fix the system, is when the system finally implodes and we rebuild it using the same tools that we have now, but by putting people in place that actually love their country and love what our founding fathers stood for when they created this great nation. And that's by using the Constitution of the United States of America. We don't need to write a new constitution. We don't need a new Bill of Rights. All we need to do is follow the one that we have now. We've got the answers to the test. But the people that we've elected to represent us, they don't even follow that anymore. I mean, look at, I talked about Elizabeth Warren, right? The lady that said that she was some kind of Indian and ended up getting a free scholarship to go to college, taking that spot from a real Indian, because she is not Indian, ladies and gentlemen. The facts are the facts. So she said she was an Indian. She's not an Indian, but she ended up getting some kind of a scholarship that a real Native American would have gotten, should she not have gotten. So this is the lady that is now a senator that now wants to track your ammunition purchases and restrict how many rounds of ammunition you can buy, at the same time making sure that you get a background check. Those are the people that we have in place. And that is 100% what she is recommending and put into a bill, along with one other senator and two other Congress people. What she
Right.
is what she is asking for is unconstitutional. So
100%.
even though they're supposed to be there to uphold and protect the Constitution of the United States of America, they violate the Constitution on a daily basis. And that's why I said we cannot fix this problem politically, because there are too many wolves at the table, too many. And all you have to do to recognize that is take a look at their net worth before they went into Congress or Senate, and then take a look at their net worth after they left. You know what? I'm going to say something good for President Trump right now, and I don't care what anybody thinks. President Trump, as far as I know, is the only president in my lifetime that when he got out of office, he got out of office with a net worth that was less by a lot than what it was when he went in. When he went into office, his net worth was about $3.5 billion. And when he got out of office, his net worth was about $2.5 billion. He lost $1 billion of net worth while he was in office. And not only did he lose that, but while he was in office, he donated every one of his checks to some kind of charity. But you don't hear that, ladies and gentlemen, because you're not allowed to know that. You're not allowed to know the true things that really go on, because you are a cattle. You have a serial number, and you will be a tax slave, just like they tell you you're going to be, because that's what you're here for, to be a tax slave, to produce for those that are above you. One day, the people will wake up. We will wake up as a collective and understand that we've been lied to. Those of us that don't know now that we've been lied to, this climate change, it's all lies. It's what it is. That's my opinion, just in case I don't want to get anyone in trouble. My opinion is that climate change, well, no, climate change is not lies. Climate change is every single day. Every day it changes. But that we have anthropogenic climate change, that is 100% lie. There is nothing that the human race can do to destroy this climate or destroy this earth as well. So anyways, I don't even remember what we were talking about.
No, you're good. I think, was it a week or two ago, I had mentioned that there was a bank closure. And someone asked me, what does that mean and stuff like that. And you went into it. And so we don't really have to talk about this too much, but I did want to say, I just saw this pop up just today that 65 U.S. bank branches filed to shut down in a single week. JP Morgan, Citizens Bank, Bank of America, Citibank filed 2 branch closures. JP Morgan's 18 filings. Citizens came in third. What is it? 64 branches total, which is crazy. 64. I mean, they are slowly shrinking it, like you said, Rudy. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. So right now, I think we're sitting at about 4,400 banks in the U.S. And I think it was probably about 10 years ago, we had about double that much, about 9,000 or so.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's much easier to control the banks when there's a lot less of them than it is when there's a lot more. Even though I don't agree with how banks operate, meaning that banks are the culprit. When it comes to inflation, people think it's the Federal Reserve. It's not the Federal Reserve. It's the banks. They are the culprit to creating inflation. Because what happens is every time that you go out there and you get a loan for, let's say, a house, let's say you get a mortgage. When you get a loan for a mortgage from a bank, that bank does not have the money that it's loaning you. So effectively, when you sign that contract saying, yes, I agree to pay back this loan over X number of years at whatever interest rate, and then when the bank manager or undersigner signs that loan and obligates that money is literally created out of thin air. It's created out of nothing. It never existed until those two signatures were on that contract. All right. So it really is the banks that create inflation and not really the Federal Reserve. Now, the part that the Federal Reserve plays in allowing for inflation to go up or down is that they issue or they set the interest rates. So the higher the interest rates, the lesser amount of loans. So the less inflation that there is in the economy, because people are not going to borrow at 10% to buy a house as much as they did at 2%, right? Same thing with when you go buy a car. If you go and finance a car, the higher the interest rate, the less people that are going to finance cars. Why? Because you're not going to finance a car, or less people will finance a car at 20% than they would at 3%. So once the Fed sets those interest rates, then the economy acts on those interest rates, and the banks are the ones that actually create the inflation by creating the money out of thin air. All right. So even though I don't like how banks operate because they don't operate on any reserves, really, not anymore, it's better to have a lot more of them than have less of them, because then at least there's still a little bit of competition there and you can actually control them more, i.e., we the people can control them more the more they are, than allow them to be controlled as a few by our overlords. At least that's the way I see it. I could be wrong.
It's funny as you're talking. I noted I watch our numbers up in the corner. They'll go from 290 to 315, and I think that people that come in and they just get part of the conversation, and maybe it's not for them. And I wish they would stay to actually listen to the whole conversation, so they could understand how important all these little tidbits of information add up to becoming as prepared as you possibly can be for what's coming and things that are happening now. You know what I mean? It's truly a shame that some people just don't get it.
Yeah, we live in the TikTok generation, man.
Unfortunately,
TikTok
30 seconds
shorts generation, and that's what it is. And I mean, it is what it is. Gray, is the survival of the fittest, right?
Oh, for sure.
That
100%.
doesn't just mean, when you say survival of the fittest, it doesn't just mean that you have to be strong and fit like me, right? It means that you have to be prepared, right?
100%.
Yes. Because if you live in a block of 20 houses and you and 3 other houses have a generator and there's a huge winter storm, who's going to be the ones that survive the best?
Exactly.
Yeah, the 4 houses that have a generator. So information really is power, because when you have the information, you can put that information to use. You can actually put it to real use where, it can actually serve you in a positive way. But like I said, we live in a TikTok generation, and if you can't get something in the first, 5 minutes, then you're just going to leave. That's why I don't get as many views as I should, is because it takes me like the first 10 minutes of a video to even tell people what it is that I'm going to talk about.
I'm right there with you, man. People tell me I talk too much, and it is what it is. But I feel like it's rooting out the people that don't necessarily need that information. The people that are, the 80% of the population that dies off,
Hey, Raymond Leonard says, AP has the body of a god, albeit Buddha. Oh, that's hilarious.
What can we do to prepare in case Trump returns? Not banned. I appreciate the super chat. I'm not sure how to answer that.
Just get your regular preps. Just prepare. If Trump returns, ladies and gentlemen, just get off of TikTok. You know what? Actually, you know what? That's a great question, because I actually have a good answer to that. Gray, if you do not like Trump, if you don't like Trump, okay, and I'm not telling you who to like or not like, whatever. If you don't like Trump and Trump returns as president, if he gets elected, right? Don't watch the news and stay off TikTok, and don't watch any political shows. Just live your life and see what happens. Just live your life and see, hey, is the price of gas double than what it was 3 years ago, like it is today? That's not a good thing. Did the price of food go up by 200% in the last 3 years? Just see what happens in your life, but stay away from the news, all right? And stay away from those channels that are political, that are biased one way or another. Just stay away from that and live your life and see what happens. That is called allowing policy to do your thinking for you, because it will tell you what you think about policy if you don't listen to anyone's opinions that are pure opinions about someone. Because one thing that I've noticed about Trump is this, and I'm trying not to talk too much about Trump, but it is what it is. We're getting into the season. Our country is at stake here, ladies and gentlemen. We have to wake the hell up. One thing that I notice about Trump is this, is that everyone that loved Trump before he was president hated him after he was president. And the question you have to ask yourself is why? Why, ladies and gentlemen? I'm not telling you to answer that question to me now, and I'm not going to give you that answer, what I think. Ask yourself, why is that? Why is that why is it that someone who was so loved by his community, by the people around him, of all races, of all creeds, of all religions, why is it that they loved him before he was president, and once he became president, they hated him? Even though our country had record low unemployment, had record low unemployment for blacks, for Hispanics, for Asians, even though we had peace in the Middle East. I don't know if anyone remembers that or not, but President Trump, he went ahead and he doctored a peace between Saudi Arabia and Iran and all of the other Middle Eastern countries. Isn't peace a good thing? I would say that peace is a good thing. I would say that when your country doesn't have to put a rifle in your child's hands and say, go shoot those people because our government doesn't like them. I would say that when that doesn't happen, I would say that that's a good thing. I would say that when our children don't have to come back from a foreign nation in a box draped by an American flag, I would say that's a good thing. And I do believe that we were in a position during President Trump's time in office where no new wars were started, and he was trying to get us out of the wars that we were in, in the right way, not by leaving in one day, but by leaving the right way. So there's a lot of things, though, ladies and gentlemen, that I did not like about President Trump while he was in office. He did a few things that maybe many people don't know about. And I believe that I called them out on my channel while that happened. So you see, it's not like it's a one-sided thing, but I do believe that during his term in office, that our country was much better off than what it is today. And it has nothing to do because of the right or the left. It has to do with pure facts, just with the facts of what I could see with my eyes and with the experiences that I had during that time. And if you allow someone to emotionally, to emotionally fool you, to get your emotions involved into something that's going to actually affect the lives of your children and their children, then you are very weak-minded. Stop listening to hate and start looking for yourself and finding your own truth. All right. Like I said, there are a lot of things that you want me to tell you a couple of things that I disagree with President Trump, Grey, when he was in office. And I think you're going to agree.
When I lost internet, I was gone for like 2 minutes. I missed a chunk. I ran around messing with all kinds of stuff, and the internet finally came back up. So I missed like 3 or 4 minutes. I was typing and freezing. Everything was down. So I missed a chunk of stuff. But I'm glad your end kept it going. I was like freaking out.
Yeah, so I was talking about some of the good things that I saw when President Trump was in office, and right. I was going to, and so that people don't think that I'm just here promoting one side. I'm not. I don't like politics at all, but I like to see facts. Right. I like to talk about things that I actually saw and experienced. I was going to go ahead and talk about a couple of things that I really, really disagree with what Trump did while he was in office. And the first one is Trump. Do you know, Grey, that President Trump, he re-signed into law one of the worst laws that exists in America today, because it goes 100% against freedom. And that was the civil asset forfeiture. And do you know what civil asset forfeiture is?
If I recall correctly, does it have the same thing to do if the police?
I'll explain it. So let's say, for example, that there's a drug dealer and he gets arrested for illegal activities on a boat. Let's say he's on a boat. Well, the police, they can confiscate that boat, or ship, or whatever it is that he's on. They can confiscate it, and because he was conducting illegal activities on that boat, and then they can auction that boat off, and then they can keep the money. and use it for their budget, right? However, legal asset forfeiture also means that if you go to the bank and you take out, let's say, $5,000, and you have it on the passenger seat of your vehicle while you're driving, and you get pulled over, and a police officer sees that money, they can confiscate that money without due process. Without you being found guilty of any crime, they can confiscate that money. And I remember the day that Trump signed that law, because I saw it on TV. I was watching him do it, and I was furious. He said, yeah, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. Take the money away, and then after that, they can prove that they're innocent if they want it back. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Same thing with the red flag laws. He signed that into law. And he said pretty much the same thing. Yeah, first we'll take away the guns, and then we'll do due process later. We have to have someone in office that is not emotional, that will do what is right no matter what. And what is right is that even though bad people do bad things every single day, it doesn't mean that you get to take away the rights of good people for the bad things that bad people did. You don't get to take away my rights because someone else decided to do something bad with a gun. No, my right is still mine. I was born with that right. So anyways, those are a couple of the things that were really big things, during that time that he did that I didn't agree with. But I have to say that I think anyone would agree with today. You don't have to put any names in it. You don't have to say Trump. You don't have to say Biden. You don't have to say anything. Ask yourself one question, or ask 10 people that you know. Ask 10 people that you know. Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? That's it. That's all you have to ask. And whatever your answer, if your answer is yes, God bless you. If your answer is yes, you're better off today than you were 4 years ago, God bless you. You are blessed. But I would bet you a silver dollar, Grey, that most people would say no.
Well, Grey,
I've always wanted to say this. I yield back my time.
Love it, man. I'm still reeling a bit from the internet crash over here, but it's to go with what you're saying. Made me think of this little piece that I had here, where it says 25% of Americans are still paying off 2022's holiday debt. That's crazy, man. Where are we at? Skipping presents. 1 in 3 Americans are foregoing gifts this year due to inflation. 1 to 4 Americans still have holiday debt from last year. 1 in 5 people will apply for new credit cards to help them with holiday shopping, getting more in debt. Inflation impacting charities. Nearly half of Americans say their charitable giving is affected by inflation. Reduced holiday spending. I heard it's one of the worst Black Fridays in a long time outside of the pandemic area. And social media influence. 23% of Americans are planning to make holiday purchases based on social media. I guess that's where we come in, right? But all in all, 25%, that's a quarter of Americans. That's millions and millions and millions of people that are still in debt from last year. And it's not going to get any better,
That's a heck of a shame, man. It's just another way of erasing our culture. And I honestly believe that one of the goals, well, no, it's not that I believe, it's true. One of the goals of the Marxists' agenda is to erase a nation's culture, and a way to erase your culture. And in the United States of America, we have a culture of giving. We are a very giving people, meaning that we like to help people. And a way to erase that culture, as it has been erased throughout the last few decades, is to tax the living hell out of you. Because the more that you're burdened by taxes, and inflation, ladies and gentlemen, is a tax. It is a silent tax that not very many people know about. The more that you are burdened by taxes, i.e. inflation as well, the less that you're going to give. Why? Not because you don't want to give, but because you can't. Pure and simple.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the all these different little comments here and there. Alien Prepper, you just made me think of something. We're almost out of time, but I have a little clip. I have a little clip. I think I think this lady is borderline. I don't know. Maybe she I don't know. I'll let you guys listen. Let me pause it for a minute. I wonder if I can add it, mute it, add it to stage, pause it, bring it there, and then let's go ahead and bring up the volume and press play.
When you think about it, all law, all legislation is about the restriction of freedom. That's exactly what we're doing here, is we are restricting freedom, but we're doing it for the common good. You will see throughout our Constitution, yes, you have rights, but they are restricted for the common good. Everything needs to be balanced. And if your views on other people's identities go to make their lives unsafe, insecure, and cause them such deep discomfort that they cannot live in peace, then I believe that it is our job as legislators to restrict those freedoms for the common good.
Crazy.
Hey, be careful how you talk to me, Grey. You might hurt my feelings, and I'll have to call the cops on you. Incredible, isn't it? Incredible, but the thing is, you have to give credit where credit is due. The Marxist agenda has worked very well.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done a really good job, Grey. They really have.
Agreed.
Look what they've done to the schools. I mean, you have teacher. Not in my entire life would I have ever thought that there is a college degree on criminal justice warrior. Did you know that?
Really?
Yes, there is a criminal justice warrior college degree. I'm like, oh my goodness!
That makes me think of one more thing I want to show. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It has to do with California. We know we all love California. We love the people of California, but not the politicians of California.
They grow really good almonds and pecans.
Yes, agreed.
I love those things.
Because of what you said, I wanted to bring this up and bring it to the show before we wrap this thing up here. But it says, California passed a new law that will mandate K through 12 students to learn media literacy as part of their module plans. This bill is designed to help students develop skills in identifying false information online amid worrying rise in distrust in the media. It's almost like they're trying to train the children. You know what I mean? As we've been saying, they indoctrinate the children in regards to
exactly.
It's mind blowing. That's how
they're teaching them how to think. They're telling them how you're gonna. This is how you're gonna think. That's pretty much what they're doing.
But that's another law by Gavin Newsom.
Hey, great. Can I talk about something real quick before we get off here?
Yeah,
so
go
I
ahead.
can stir you up a little bit. What do you think about what happened over at New York City, pre-Thanksgiving?
Which situation?
You didn't hear anything about this? So I forget the name of the little village or whatever it is in New York City.
You talk about the school system?
No. So I forget the name about like the apartment complex in New York City. But every year, the day before Thanksgiving, they give out turkeys and stuff like that for Thanksgiving dinner. And this year, that same complex got about 8,000 illegal aliens come into it.
Oh,
and
yes.
They got, from what I read, this is what I read, they got all the turkeys before the regular poor residents that live there that are American citizens.
Truly a shame. Truly a shame.
I'm sorry. I'm not laughing because it's funny, but it's tragic. And, it's better than crying. But, it's like I said.
But the majority of the people in New York voted for this guy.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like people are going to learn the hard way. The only way that change comes about is when people suffer. Right? That's the only way that change comes about. Is when people are not willing to listen and to do their own research and to act with no emotion on things that really matter. When they do that, they're going to end up suffering. And now they're finding out what their government really thinks about them. But what I don't think people are really understanding about what's going on as far as those illegal immigrants getting those turkeys and not the people is that for the last 60, 70 years, a group of people in the United States has really been enslaved still, by a certain party. And now this group of people is waking up, Grey. They're waking up. So you know what happens when they wake up to the agenda and they understand that that agenda is not to their favor, you know what happens? They no longer get the turkeys. And now a new group of people
that's
gets
a good
those
point.
turkeys.
That's a
And
great
guess
point.
who they're trying to get to vote? Guess who they're trying to allow to vote?
The illegal
Those
immigrants.
people that are not even citizens that got the turkeys.
Agreed.
So now the people that used to get the turkeys, that used to vote for these people all the time, guess what? Where's your turkey now? Somebody else has that turkey. And those people are going to vote for their turkeys for next year too.
It's the same thing. Yeah, it's the same thing I tell people who ask me, like, hey, how do I get my sister, my brother, my mom, my dad, whoever to prep? They just don't see they don't see the value in it like I do. I'm like, it's going to take something really bad to happen in their life. And then they're going to realize, wow, this person, whoever it was that was telling me this and the family was right the whole time. It's a security blanket. You know, it's a God, how I always tell people, I said it's a peace of mind thing. You know what I mean? To know I got food and medicine and ways to heat myself and cool myself and to help my family in any critical situation that happens to arise. It's right. Just that simple.
Some people are never going to get it, man. Some people are never going to get it. That's all there's to it. There's people that I've talked to in the past and they're like, yeah, man, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, you should, but they never do anything. You know,
I'm going to keep on trying. That's all I can do. Yeah, keep on doing what I'm doing. And you're going to do, we're going to try to keep on spreading the word. And folks, you're more than welcome to share our live streams out, our videos out and stuff like that. And maybe it'll get through to someone eventually. One quick thing I want to mention before we wrap this up is down below, I have a P.O Box. I haven't done this in a while, but if anybody is curious and wants to send Grey a Christmas card, I want to see if I can get several Christmas cards before I'm going to do a live stream right before Christmas. And I'm going to share all those Christmas cards out if anybody wants to, share that or send some Christmas cards. So the P.O Box is down below. If you don't mind sending a Christmas card, that'd be awesome. I used to get a whole bunch of them, but I haven't mentioned it in a long time. But I figured I want to throw that out there right now. And great to have a civil talk with you as a Democrat. I appreciate that. Not a banned account. Thank you for the super chat as well.
Listen, Grey, let me say this real quick. All right. Some people may not agree with me. I've often talked about how people in general should never allow their job to identify who they are. Right.
Agreed.
So, like, for example, don't allow your job to identify who you are. You are not your job. Do not label yourself a left or a right. All right. Yeah, I'll say the words. Do not label yourself a Democrat or a Republican. Don't do that. If the United States of America would just stop labeling one side or another and just allow people to run for president or for senator or whatever, just on policies, ideals, and morals, we would be such a much better nation than we would be in such a much better place than we are now. So I will never, ever say I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat or I'm a Libertarian or I'm a Green Party. You know what I am? I am a proud American. That's what I am. I will never, ever in my life say I am a Republican or a Democrat or whatever. I think on my voter registration card, I think it has me down as an independent because you have to have something. I have to be listed as something. And that was the closest thing to me. I am me. That's who I am, an independent me, right?
So you're basically, I call it someone who's a free thinker, someone who's an independent thinker.
Exactly. But that's one of the traps that we've been entrapped in, is labeling ourselves. And it's like I tell people, don't allow your job to identify who you are. You are much more than your job. A job is just something, a tool that you use to earn an income that will sustain your standard of living. That's what a job is. Some people are very lucky and they actually have a job that they love to do. If that's you, you're blessed and you're very lucky. But your job, for the most part, does not identify you as who you are. Don't allow yourself to be identified by one side or the other. If we allow, I'll say it again because this is so important. If we just allowed ourselves as Americans to say, I'm American. Oh, but are you a Democrat or a Republican? No, I'm American. I'm American that stands with American ideals. That's who I am.
Thank you.
And And then just let it be that anyone who's running for office runs for office as an American, not as a freaking Republican or Democrat or an independent or whatever, but as an American that loves his country and has set forth these policies that he or she thinks are good for our country. And then you can vote on those people with the policies that you think are the best for our country, but not because they're a Democrat or a Republican. Come on, ladies and gentlemen. How many times do we have to go through this freaking circus? How many times do we have to walk through this crap? They spend billions of dollars every cycle, every election cycle. They spend billions of dollars lying to you and trying to make you think what they want you to think. Why don't you just think for yourselves? Stop calling yourself something and labeling yourself something that you're not. The reason they have two parties, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what it is, it's really two parties, right, that we have a choice from. It's called the illusion of choice. They make it look to us like we have a choice. When those two wings, the left wing and the right wing, they have the same damn head. They're part of the same bird. They're part of the same system. Stop being freaking fooled. Anyways, I yield back my time. I'm gonna get a. Wouldn't it be something, Gray, if I got a stroke while I'm here? Like, that would make some awesome YouTube. You will get some serious clicks on that.
Yeah, we'll get a bunch of views, man. If we, I always tell my wife if I jumped in the middle of a hurricane while it's destroying everything, I said I would get thousands and millions of views and subscribers from that. Oh man.
Wait a minute. That was one sentence. Say another sentence. Say something else, Gray.
Me? Say something else?
Yeah. Say something else.
Something else.
All right, there you go, Minute Man. Gray got out 3 sentences, so you're wrong.
There you go, Minute Man. What I was going to say is, hey folks, we're going to wrap this up here now. We're a little over our time, but sometimes we go over it. And yes, we are aware that there are other live streams that happen, and stuff like that. There's nothing we can do, folks. The YouTube is convoluted with so many channels, homesteads and preppers and this and this and that. But we do what we can, man. We tried the Sunday thing, and a lot of people said no. So we did it early Monday, and
it is what it is, man.
Yeah. So we apologize. But there's always the replay. But one thing I want to ask each and every one of you, got 258 of you. So I want at least a half of you to comment down below and tell us what you thought about the show, and anything that you guys say, hey, Gray, I'd like for you guys to touch on this topic. Drop that down in the comments for us. Make sure, of course, you hit that thumbs up button and share this stuff out, folks, because the more people we get in here, the more people we can educate and inform, and hopefully they'll get prepared and become part of our communities, the Gray community and the AP community. The larger we can get this out there, the more information we can get out there, I think the more people we can help. You probably, what are you watching? Comments?
I'm just looking, man. Dude, I'll tell you what, man. You know how lucky we are? Seriously, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. I mean, we get to come on here and talk with a whole bunch of people on the sidelines and talk to each other. This is awesome. All right. So for those of you that join in during the live, thank you very much. And for those of you that support whatever channel the live is on, after the rerun, thank you as well. Because I'm having a good time doing this. This is not a chore for either of us. Trust me. Having a really good time, and I do appreciate every one of you stopping by.
All right. I think that wraps about, folks. I want to thank you personally as well for being here, taking the time out of your evening and hanging out with myself and Rudy. Next week, we'll be back on his channel live at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think that's 3 p.m. Alaska time or something like that.
Look at that, Gray. See all those eggs?
Yes.
I got 7 eggs today from my chickens.
And thank you to our awesome, amazing mods who keep everything running in the background for us. We truly appreciate it, and we love you. Other than that, folks, this is GreyMan and Alaska Prepper. We are out. We'll catch you on the rebound. God bless each and every one of you. And again, thank you so much for watching. Have a good night.
God bless.